Kristen's Kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you about the time that I was sent to the ER on Halloween night. Looking back, it's a lot scarier than it felt in that time. But let me back up by sharing a little bit more about my story when it comes to PCOS. Because this is the beginning of PCOS for Kristen. However, I never actually heard the term PCOS until much, much later. Many years ago, back in 6th grade, is when this all started. Why? Because that's when I became a woman! It's true, 6th grade. I remember it was like a Thursday and we were watching the movie Oliver. Please, sir, may I have some more? Yeah, that movie. And I was like, something ain't right. We're gonna get into some TMI because, you know, hey, we're friends. Nice to meet you. My name is Kristen. So you're probably like, why does 6th grade and that have to do with anything that has to do with going to the ER in 2006, which is a long time after? Well, let me tell you. After 6th grade and all through high school and even college, I dealt with something that a lot of women don't talk about, and that was super irregularity when it comes to menstrual cycles. So that's something that I dealt with. It was awful in high school. It was not fun, and went into college, not fun. Cramps so bad I'm staying in bed, skipping school, all those goods. Well, what happened in 2006 was pretty bad. I actually had my period for like a month straight. And you might be wondering, like, why didn't you tell anybody? Well, let me tell you, I didn't say anything to anybody because I thought it was normal. I just thought, I'm one of those girls that has it for a long amount of time. It's super irregular, and it is what it is. I can live with it. It sucks, but I'm going to do it. Like, what choice do I have? So Halloween night, I was living in San Francisco, and I was living with my grandparents, and Jeff was there, and his brother was coming to visit us. And I was super excited. So was he. And that night, Halloween night, I was in a lot of pain. Like, that whole day, actually. I was in so much pain. I was doubled over in my bed, could hardly move, in tears. The only thing I can compare it to is like if an elephant is stepping on your stomach. And I had no idea why. Honestly, at the time, I don't think any of us knew why and what was happening. But anyway, my grandpa came home from the hospital. He was a doctor. And he took a look at me and was like, we're going to the hospital right now. I mean, I don't know how much longer I could have waited. What if my grandfather had to operate on somebody at the hospital and didn't come home till way later? When would have been that point where we were like, we got to go to the hospital? I don't know. So my grandfather, I tell Jeff this too, and we say, like, my grandfather saved my life that day. Because he saw me and was like, we're going to the hospital. So, sorry, I get emotional. I miss him so much. So 3 of us jumped in the car. I think I was in the back seat. I don't remember. I just remember being in so much pain. And what I remember about being in the car on the way to the ER was every single bump in the road, turn, merge, left turn, right turn, step on the brake, step on the gas. Every little bit in the car hurt. I could feel every crack in the road. It was excruciating. It was so painful. And I went right into the ER, and it was not good. And they see me right away. I'm with my grandpa. He was a well-known doctor in that hospital, so I got a little extra treatment being his granddaughter, oldest grandbaby. I saw my OB-GYN. She was actually there, so I got to see her. They ran all kinds of tests. I mean, every kind of test you can think of, they ran it. I got pricked by all these needles. They did EKG. They checked this and that and the other thing. Let me just tell you, it was a hot mess. It was crazy. The number I remember that sticks out the most is 70. I lost 70% of the blood in my body. I was this color. I was literally pale beyond belief. We came to the conclusion that I had a cyst on one of my ovaries, which is very scary. I was this color, and they did a blood transfusion, and I was there for 3 days. Looking back, the funny part, there is some funny to this. So months and months before, my aunt got all of us tickets to see the musical Chicago. I love musicals. Hey. Got tickets to see Chicago. get this, with Huey Lewis playing the lead. And I was like so pumped. I love me some Huey Lewis, and I love me some musicals, and I love Chicago. Homegirl was in the ER and I didn't get to go, so that was loads of fun. So there is some humor, I guess. I was pretty upset at the time. Not only am I in the hospital, but I don't get to see this show that I have been wanting to see forever. Can we like, haha. Okay, so there is the comedy to it, I guess. But looking back, it was a very scary situation. So the number I remember being thrown around while I was in the hospital was that I had lost 70% of the blood in my body. I was this color. It was bad. It was not good at all. It was scary, and looking back, it was awful. I had only wished that I had said something to someone during that time beforehand, but again, I just thought that I was just one of those girls that had a really irregular period. I didn't even talk to my mom about it. Not because I couldn't, but I just thought, well, I'm one of those unlucky few. So here's what happened. I'm in the ER for 3 days. I had a blood transfusion, and I found out I had a cyst on, I think it was my left ovary. It was one of them. I had a cyst, and it had to be removed, and I was terrified. I've had surgery before, but I was terrified of having surgery. So I put it off, and that was Halloween night, October. I had surgery, I think it was May. It was something I guess we could wait on. It wasn't an urgent thing to do then. I don't understand. I just only remember what I remember. And I had surgery in May. So I had the surgery and everything went well, and it was obviously frightening to A, be in the hospital, B, have a blood transfusion, C, lose that much blood in my body, D, find out I had to have surgery, like all these different things. That's when I should have found out that I had PCOS. Why that term was not said by my OBGYN doctor who did the surgery, who saw me in the ER, all that stuff, I have no idea. That was not talked about. I had only wished I had known that term then, because I didn't hear it until 2009 or 2010. Here's what they did in the hospital. They put me on birth control, because that'll fix everything, right? So they put me on birth control and iron supplements, and that fixed my symptoms, which was irregular heavy period and my anemia. I was obviously anemic, and so they put me on iron. So while the iron was, it wasn't a bad thing, and the birth control worked, that was just fixing the symptoms. It wasn't fixing, or it was masking the symptoms. It wasn't like fixing all of the reasons why this is happening. Fast forward to 2010, when I first heard those words, Polcystic Ovarian Syndrome, or PCOS, from a naturopath doctor in Arizona, my whole world changed for the better. I'm glad I found out that I have PCOS, because I've been able to heal a lot of those issues or symptoms through food. Hold the phone. I'm not saying that, magic, I ate a banana and boom, my health issues are gone. No, I worked with a doctor and we did blood work, we did tests, we found out that I have PCOS, and found out since then found out my food intolerances, and through eliminating certain foods from my diet that hurt me and that were causing a lot of these issues, I've been able to fix a lot of symptoms and issues that I have been Let's say that again. Okay, so with the help of of my doctor and a very strategic and customized for me, for Krysten plan, through lab work, through blood tests, through everything you can think of, we figured out what foods that I cannot have because of my intolerances and because of PCOS to fix the issues and the symptoms that I was having because of PCOS, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? If not, leave a comment below, send me an email. I can explain more if you want me to. Okay, so that was part 1. Part 2 is coming, because I feel like there's much more that I need to say without taking all of your time that coincides with part 1. There's more to this story. There's more to the story about when I found out I had PCOS and actually heard the words Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. If you are dealing with a health issue of any kind, wait, let's just narrow this down to this. If you are having a very irregular period, if things don't seem normal, you have to talk to a doctor. You have to. I wish I had talked to someone. Talk to your mother, your spouse, your friend, your cousin, your uncle, your brother, whoever. Talk to someone. I don't want what happened to me to happen to anybody else. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm just a doctor's granddaughter. So I just highly recommend you talk to somebody. I wish I had talked to somebody back then. So that's part one. I am going to share part two with you next week. And I hope this information helps you in some way. And feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me in Krysten's Kitchen, and stay tuned for part two.